A big-name activist speaks in Tallahassee.
Our children need to know the whole story.
Because of the AP test controversy. A recent recall hurting South Florida.
All I could think about was my mom. Like, we clean our house with that all the time. She's probably gonna freak out.
A little more than the rest of the country. And the Heat playing Brooklyn, hoping to cut down the nets. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
And I'm Julian Davis. Today's Thursday, February 16th, 2023.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
A rally in Tallahassee, a big-name activist adding his voice to the AP outrage in Florida. Today, critics of Governor Ron DeSantis' decision to block an AP African American Studies course for containing political content are fired up after protests break out in the Florida Capitol.
Yesterday, hundreds of protesters, including celebrities and faith leaders, gathered outside of the Florida state capitol to protest the governor's decision. This comes days after the governor said his administration is considering reevaluating the state's relationship with the College Board, who provides states with advanced placement courses and the SAT exam.
Our children need to know the whole story, not only know how bad you were, but to know how strong they are.
Have to be done by the College Board, or can we utilize some of these other providers who I think have a really strong track record? Turns out there are. IB courses, they're actually more rigorous than AP, and the colleges accept it. You have the Cambridge, which is also more rigorous.
Governor DeSantis' administration claims it intends to keep politics and prejudice out of Florida schools and has passed new legislation bearing instruction that suggests is oppressed or privileged based on the skin color or race.
Controversy in Southwest Florida this morning involving its Pride Month plans. An issue during a City Hall meeting in Naples yesterday was whether drag queens should be allowed to perform at a Pride event. It was a conversation 2 weeks ago that included permit concerns, which led council members to postpone the approval of the event. Commissioners pushed any decisions back until their next meeting on March 1st.
A South Florida angle this morning in the case of a man accused of going on a rampage in a rented U-Haul truck. It was revealed in a New York court yesterday that the suspect, Wang Sor, rented the truck in West Palm Beach before driving it to Brooklyn. He is charged with 1 count of second-degree murder and 7 counts of attempted murder. The victim of February 12th rampage ranged from ages 30 to 66.
The FAA is an issue of Capitol Hill this morning after a session in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. It was yesterday when the acting head of the Federal Aviation Administration addressed the Senate yesterday concerning technical issues impacting U.S. air traffic. Billy Nolan reassuring Americans that air travel has, quote, never been safer. He also said efforts are currently underway to upgrade the messaging system, which failed last month and will mostly be completed by mid-2025.
The Senate Judiciary Committee met this week to talk about online safety for young people. Reporter Nicole Ardila from our D.C. Bureau is in Washington this morning.
I'm here on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers from both political parties are pushing for stricter measures when it comes to the safety and privacy of children on social media and online platforms in general. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn and Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut proposed the Kids Online Safety Act last year and reintroduced it under the new congressional session. Blackburn said the harms of social media are clear after a new Centers for Disease Control report declared a national youth mental health crisis.
When these children are on these platforms, they're the product. They're the product. Their data is taken. That data is monetized, and then it is sold to the advertisers.
Psychologist Dr. Mitch Prinstein told the committee that the average teenager spends more than 8 hours of screen time per day. Researchers also said that social media could be a big factor in the increase in hopelessness and sadness that high schoolers face today. 19-year-old activist Emma Lemke shared her story with the committee about joining social media at only 12 years old, calling it, quote, an illusion. Lemke supports the legislation which would require that tech companies place stricter parental control tools online.
As my screen time increased, my mental and physical health suffered. The constant quantification of my worth through likes, comments, and followers heightened my anxiety and deepened my depression.
Lawmakers want to pass this bill this year, and they say that this legislation could potentially prevent kids from becoming victims of stalking, addiction, exploitation, and even suicide. Reporting from Washington, D.C., I'm Nicole Ardila for the South Florida Media Network.
The Miami Heat played their last game before their All-Star break.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
It's so scary having Fabuloso in the household.
A recall of a product which is important to South Florida makes social media go crazy. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Cleaning concerns humor online coming from South Florida after major recall. The product is Fabuloso, and it may not be a big deal in other spots in the country.
But as the network's Gabriela Perez reports, it matters to Miami.
The popular cleaning product Fabuloso is currently not so fabulous and is being recalled. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says that the multi-purpose cleaners may contain bacteria that can be harmful to people with low immune systems or suffering from underlying lung conditions.
It's so scary having Fabuloso in the household. I live with a family of 5 people, and having those products in the household is just not safe. It's very harmful to the families and everybody out there as well.
The bacteria carried by the products can enter the body through the eyes, cuts on the skin, or if inhaled.
Nearly 5 million bottles of the Fabuloso cleaner have been removed off of shelves, and South Florida is not happy about it.
As it continues to be an essential in many South Floridian households, people are expressing their thoughts towards the crisis on social media.
Oh my gosh, when I heard about it, all I could think about was my mom. Like, we clean our house with that all the time. She was probably going to freak out.
Only and Dade posted a meme on Instagram following a comment by M. Samuels 305 stating the city of Hialeah is closed until further notice. For refunds or replacements, customers can contact Colgate Palmolive Company for more information. For South Florida Media Network, I'm Gabriela Perez.
The Miami Heat are leaving Brooklyn with a loss against the Nets. The scores were close throughout most of the game until the Nets' Mikal Bridges, one of the newest additions to the team from the Kevin Durant trade, had quite a game in the third quarter. His efforts broke open the game, scoring 15 points in a row. The final score was Heat 105, Nets 116. This is the last game before All-Star break. The Heat will go on to Milwaukee to play the Bucks on Friday, February 24th at 7:30 p.m.
That is all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Julian Davis.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.